So today's class is going to be on a level of coziness and, yeah, celebrating what is considered the last day of feasting or the last few hours of feasting and enjoying the fruits of the body and the nature of what it needs to enjoy before going into an area of ourselves that needs to be reflected upon. And I always think that's a lovely thing, whether it be yearly or even if you do that more than once a year. So, all right. So, getting nice and warm, have a blanket with you. I recommend having some booties on for your feet and a nice warm uh, sweatshirt and all that fun stuff. And we're going to begin in a child's pose. So, making yourself as comfortable and as warm, perhaps adding a blanket along covering up your back, maybe even doing portions of this class, if you would like, in your bed. So, giving this the time that it needs to settle into your place, settle into your mat. In yoga, a lot of settling in is not trying to change anything. We're not trying to make anything better. Some things may improve at the end of class, maybe your mood or your body or something. But really, it is just to understand what the present moment is. It's a state of awareness, accepting everything about ourselves and everything about our life and the things around us. Accepting with a sense of kindness, a surrender, gratitude, and ultimately appreciation. But some days you may feel those energies a little bit much. It depends on the day. Some days you just want to not think, and this is going to be a great class for not thinking. So feel your breath in 360 degrees all around you. Hi, my baby. About 10 more breaths or so in your child's pose. If you have your head in one direction, you can change that. slowly coming up from the child's pose, bringing the knees together, and we'll sit on the tops of the feet and begin to lean back. Maybe your knees will come up, maybe not. Don't force anything. I have quite bendy ankles. I just want to stretch out the tops of the feet. And then coming over into a tabletop pose, we'll let the feet have a little bit of a blood rush. And as you splay your fingers wide, imprint your hand, tops of the feet down. We'll go into the cat-cow movements, starting that awareness of the spine, the hips, and the shoulders. Inhaling as you look up, flushing all the air out as you exhale. Into your neutral spine, rotating the shoulders, so rolling the joints. And then we'll rotate the elbows, circling one direction with the elbows. Let's circle the other direction. Then rotate the hands so that the wrists of the hands point forward, and we'll circle the hips. The fingertips pointing back toward you, whichever direction with the hips, and then we'll reverse the direction. Back into neutral hips, reverse now the wrists so that they the hands rotate inward. We still have the wrists slightly forward, and we're going to lean back. And I tell you what, if we tuck the toes here, we can sit on the tops of the feet. To your knees, rotating the wrists. And rotating the wrists in the other direction. I'm bringing the arms behind the back, interlace the hands, and draw open the shoulders, open up the chest, lift your gaze. And then as you fold forward, we're going to allow the forehead, or the top of the head rather, to come to the mat, and your arms up and overhead. So bring that head as close to your knees as is possible for you. Side to side movement with those arms, so both arms kind of reaching over to one side, stretching over the shoulder head, and then switch. Just a couple times switching here. And tuck your toes here. Now we're going to go into rabbit. So as you release your arms, reach back for your heels. So you're kind of in a
a snug child's pose. But the rabbit, once you grab your heels, you're going to push your hips and your torso forward, and that pushing opens and lengthens the arms here. So it's an active pushing up of the hips. And then releasing the hips for a moment, release the arms.
We'll come back into thunderbolt pose. All right, and so sitting on the tops of the feet, if you need to make any changes for that, we're going to go into the neck. So bring the hands behind the back of the head, applying slight pressure chin into chest. And swallow a few times, pushing in on the thyroid just slightly with this pressure. Then we'll alternate. Inhale, holding the back of the head, looking all the way up. Exhale, extending the cervical spine down. Inhale, looking all the way up. And exhale, down. Time. And then allow your head and your neck to continue flexing back. Continue holding the neck. We're going to slightly look from side to side here. Now, some yogis may be able to let the neck go. Another option is to let your arms go. And a little bit of those shoulder muscles are holding up your neck. So enjoy where you are. Let's see. I think this is better for me. Back around the back of the neck to support, and we'll take one ear to the shoulder, holding that side. The opposite arm is coming around your back, and begin the yes nod. Back to central, and we'll begin the no. Rotating the chin back to center, and we'll reverse. So the opposite arm is behind the back. Now that you've got the diagonal ear to shoulder, you can begin the yes pattern. And coming back to center, and the no pattern. Back, chin to center, lengthening the neck up. So coming over into all fours, and we're going right into our pigeon pose. So right shin forward, flexing that right foot. So as you lengthen out and stretching that left thigh to the mat, finding an even balance between the hips here.
And feel that air all around, 360 degrees, as it fans open the ribs, moves all the way around the back towards the ridge of the spine, and lifting the shoulders and lifting the chest. And I want to bring your attention to this area of your breath. It's a great way to stay present. Of course, you are familiar with your inhale and the exhale, but there's a third portion of breath. It's the turnaround. It's the still point. It's the height of your lung capacity, either emptied or full. Just before you change the direction of the wind, there's a point of stillness. Bringing your awareness as you hold and surrender here. Breathing in, and there's that node at the very top of your breath. Exhaling all the air out. And at the very end, if you go too fast, you'll miss it. There's that node of stillness again. And then the inhale begins. So it's a moment that happens so quickly. You really have to be concentrating on your breath, otherwise you will miss it. Enjoying these last 5 breaths. So we're going to go into Royal Pigeon. So simply staying right where you are, that shin forward, bending the left knee, reach back for that left thigh, bringing it in. That front arm, you can take a moment to have a balancing pose. So first bringing the leg in, we'll get a nice stretch into the thigh muscle, and then as you press that foot away, lifting your right arm so you have balance. You might be able to balance in both, but this will certainly assure your balance. And we'll take that left leg all the way around, bring it around in front, cross it over that right knee. We'll go into the Lord of the Fishes pose, which is just a very big twist. So left leg is over you, so you're going to twist towards that left leg.
And here we focus on the exhale. The inhale will be minimal, the exhale, most important. You can get a really good twist with a great exhale. Really push that belly button back. Let's do 5 more breaths here in the Lord of the Fishes pose, Matsyendrasana pose. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Last final breath. And taking a little bit of a counter twist. And we're going to go into a stacking of the fire logs. So both shins will come out to play. We'll stack ankle on top of ankle. Now, it's very natural to have a lot of space between the top leg and the bottom foot. So as the time goes, you'll notice it'll begin to melt, so you can remove the block little by little. Flexing both the feet, folding forward here. Come back into the awareness of the node, the top of the breath, suspending and hanging out there for just a second or two, a little bit longer. Linger in those nodes between the inhale and exhale of your breath. Walking both hands over to one side. Staying low and walking over to the opposite side. Back to center, and we can release the legs Ooh, I think it's been a while since I've done that one myself. And then we're just going to very easily go into the shin opposite for pigeon pose on the opposite side. So for me, that's my left shin. So my left shin is going to be forward, top of the foot is, or the left foot is flexed, and I'm going to bring that right leg now back. Nestle in, right thigh, and I'm getting from side to side a good lateral positioning. And I'm going to bring my blanket around. It definitely think this is a blanket with yoga day. So now that you know what I'm doing, I'll cover up nice and warm, and then back to that breathing, concentrating, adding even more awareness of that node. What it does is it separates you from your everyday thought, because you're particularly focused on a very quick moving movement of your breath. So all your concentration goes into that area, that point of stillness. So even if something uncomfortable is happening in your body with the pose, your body has a choice, your mind has a choice to focus on the discomfort and allow that to get bigger, or to focus on this particular breathing awareness. Counting the next 10 breaths to yourself. And releasing from the pigeon. We will go into the royal pigeon, so bending that back leg to bring in first a nice stretch for our thigh muscle. And then as you push and flex the leg away, kind of holds you up and you can have a little balance fun. So if your hips are open, you'll be balanced on with your hips, and in a real balance, you could bring both the leg in and the arm in. Little fun there. And we'll go into the Lord of the Fishes pose, where we take that right leg now all the way across, crossing over one leg over the other, and then rotating towards the right this time. So the leg that's crossing over you, you're hugging that knee into your chest. And the inhale is going to be compromised. So it's the exhale that we really want to tap into and concentrate on. This is our twisting for the digestive tract, flushing the organs, and creating some nice rotation into the fascia of the spine. Juice the body. Even wonderful if you get some air coming through their body there. So you might have some air bubbles coming out. So it's a good thing. Last 2 breaths here. Releasing from our twisting. We'll go into the fire log pose on the opposite side. So here we go. Both fire logs are going to stack, ankle on top of knee, ankle on top of knee. Let's get a prop to help out while the body takes its time to relax. So you should feel within the first 15 seconds or so, 20, that your body has decided, okay, I'm going to relax into it. But you don't want to force anything. So keep a prop in hand, and then folding forward, making yourself comfortable with your blankets and all that's warm, goody stuff. Remember, when you focus on the discomfort of the poses, it starts to get magnified in the mind. So working with the focus on the breath. Play with the intention of your focus. And just observe how then it lessens the intensity of poses such as this.
final minute.
Beginning to come up out of the lovely fire log pose. Yes, fire logs. So we're going to stay with a straight leg forward fold, because I'm sure if you're anything like me, it's going to feel really good. So just a nice forward fold, maybe some support under the back of the knees. If you have tight hamstrings, take it nice and tall and long, straight, spine forward.
Enjoy the next 5 breaths. And really flex those toes.
Getting the most out of this forward fold and slowly coming up out of the forward fold. Have your block handy. We're going to go right down into happy baby pose. So coming on to your back, hug your knees in. And then happy baby, getting the nappy change. So we reach in
between the knees for the feet or the ankles, and then flex the feet up to the ceiling. And you're allowing the knees to melt towards your armpits and eventually maybe even towards the floor. From your happy baby, you can start to rock and straighten one leg at a time. I like to call this the ornery baby. Slightly kicking out, so take your time and really straighten out the back of the leg. So the heel is pushing out. Challenge the hamstrings to get a little longer along the back of the knee. Pushing those fibers and that fascia that wraps the muscle, pushing it so that it has more expansion. And then going into a wide open V or Lotus with both legs, so both legs straight, heels up, toes down. Now the next portion is going to be, so we'll bring the knees together now and just hug in for a moment to relax. So the next portion is a shoulder stance. We're going to go into plow pose and then into shoulder stance, but this is not for every yogi. It's not for people who have blood pressure and issues in the eyes. Blood pressure issues probably in general, and then also if you have neck issues, you're not going to go into the plow and then the shoulder stance. So for those of you that are going to take the modification, it is simply a legs in the air, and I would recommend using a block as well under your hips. So you'll lift the hips, place the block right at the area where you can then hold the legs up in the air. So for my people that are going into the plow pose, you're going to remove all ponytails. And you can use the block to lift the hips, but you're going to lift the hips and bring the legs up and overhead. We'll first hang out in the plow pose. So this is great for the neck. We're bringing the chest to the chin, not the chin to the chest. And you'll Apply your hands to the small of your back. Wiggle those elbows in. And as you support, then we go into shoulder stance here. This can also be done against the wall instead of using your hands. So in your shoulder stance, enjoy 3 more breaths and then move into plow pose. If you are in your legs in the air, simply remove your block and slowly lower your legs all the way until you get to the floor. So hugging the knees once again, lengthening out the low back. And then with those knees in together, crossing the right knee on top of the left. You can even do a little bit of a twisted root with the ankles if it's available to you. We'll take both legs over to the right side of your mat. center and finding your way onto your back. Coming into Shavasana pose. Covering up just like any kind of well tucked individual, thinking of a cocoon or a sarcophagus maybe, or allow yourself to be wrapped in warmth. Coming back into the awareness of that node at the top of the breath. So as you inhale the air, pay attention to the turnaround, that sacred spot of stillness. Just in these last few breaths, bringing your hands on your person, and one hand on your chest, the other on your belly, and just bringing your awareness to the magnificence of this body, all the sensations that pass through, the thoughts, the ideas, and the emotions, experiences, all to understand the great mystery and connection with others and with nature. All the experiences you've had, all the food that you've eaten, all the time you've spent in work and in play and in sleep. Such a magnificent vessel that's had so many sensations coming and going. And yet it's still the same, breathing in and breathing out. Honoring this body, last couple of breaths. As you bring your knees into your chest and roll over to your side. And
Gently pressing up into seated pose. And bringing your hands at your heart center, creating a little bit of warmth. And place both those hands over your heart, dropping your head into your heart, and your hands covering that area, sensitivity. And thank you for joining me in yoga today and tonight. I hope you all stay very cozy the rest of the week. Namaste.